Ocasionals, welcome, my name is Jude, and today I am here to do a review of Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. It will be a spoiler review because the only thoughts I have to say in terms of no spoiler is I really liked it, you should read it. So you've been warned, spoilers ahead for this book. Now, Heir of Fire. Heir of Fire has to be my favorite book so far in the series. I am currently halfway through the 4th book, and yeah, I like Heir of Fire a lot more. And it's not that the 4th book is bad, not at all. It's just that Heir of Fire has something that's just within this book, you know? When the previous book ended, I was kind of worried and apprehensive about how things were going to move forward because I had grown so accustomed to life within the castle, Selenia's, you know, like her routine, her habits, the setting, and to be taken out of that for a whole new world, new development, new characters is quite scary. And I personally don't always adjust well to change, or like I feel that the author isn't doing a great job in the new setting and I struggle to keep up with it, and thankfully that did not happen. I ended up loving every step of Selenia's journey. From the moment she is found by Rowan and taken before her aunt, Mauve. Is that how you pronounce her name, Mauve? I'm gonna roll with it, but from the moment her aunt's like, you gotta get better at your skill, I was like, I like where this is going. It's gonna be like boot camp. And that's always my favorite part in movies, film, books, media in general. When we see the protagonists go through these sort of like boot camps things and they get better at their craft, their shit. It's fun to watch and it was fun to read about. So I just can't describe. Heir of Fire is such a fun read. It was so fun. That's the best way I can describe it. Now just so you know, my reading habit is to read every day for 30 minutes before going to bed. And with this book, every day I got home back from work, I'd just be craving to get my hands on this one, and I'd read until long hours of the night. Needless to say, that week I was very exhausted but very happy nonetheless, because that's how much I was enjoying this book. I also really liked that even though a lot of new characters were introduced, I like them. But I mean to say that there was a lot more points of view to follow within the story, and where in Crown of Midnight and Throne of Glass you kind of follow Dorian, Kael, and Selenia, they are still all within the same city, so even though you're following them around separately, you kind of get the sense that you're still very much together. And in this book, it's the first time that everyone is very much separate, so just following each one around definitely feels like they're apart and like you're reading a different chapter. Like it's very noticeable. So when they also introduced Manon, I was like, hold a minute, I want to read about Selenia. And I was growing a little bit frustrated at the fact that we were not just seeing Selenia's point of view, that we were watching all of these other things. But quickly, Manon became one of my favorite characters of all. She was so badass and so cool, and I love the whole backstory of the witches, and I want a full novel about Manon. I totally read it. I loved her. She's so badass. She's one of my favorite characters in the series. I can just say that right off the bat. And I'm just really happy that in each point of view I was excited for the point of view we were reading about. Either it was Manon, Kael, Dorian, or Selenia. Never was I wanting to go back to another character's point of view. Sure, there were times where I was like, I wanted to know what was going to happen, and then there was a chapter about Kael and I'd be like, but I was still able to stay invested in that side of his story at the moment. So I think that was really great on behalf of Sarah J. Maas's writing. She did a good job on that. So at this point, you know that I like this book. Like, it's no secret. I really liked it. But there were flaws. There are many flaws within this book, and I will address some of them. So going a little back to the previous book, Crown of Midnight, when Nehemia dies, everyone left standing is white. Every single character that is left is white. If I'm not mistaken, all of the characters that are currently at play in this book and the 1st book so far are white. And for some reason, I hadn't really noticed this until I actually started to read more reviews and more thoughts on people on this series, that I was like, huh, this is so true. And this also applies to her other series, the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. Almost everyone, like 90% of the characters, are white. And the fact that I hadn't really noticed this, that it hadn't really popped up in my head, speaks volumes of my privilege. And it's ridiculous. It's so white and so straight. Cause let's be honest, one of my biggest crushes in literature, in any type of books ever, is Selenia. I'd totally fuck Selenia. But she wouldn't fuck me because she likes men. Oh no, wait. males. Something in my brain tells me that there's something inherently sexist about the way that Sarah J Maas uses the whole male-female thing in her books. I just haven't given it much thought yet, but I feel that it's there. But anyways, the only times in which I've seen homosexuality be mentioned within this series has been in a bad light and talking about forced sex labor. So like, no. And also I saw a tweet of someone saying how every single character in Sarah J Maas's books is beautiful, and I was like, yeah, every single character in this series is described as breathtakingly beautiful, and it's at a point where it just does not seem healthy. Every single time a new character is introduced, the first thing that it's mentioned, it's their beautiful features, their charming face, their godlike aspect, I don't know. Everyone is beautiful, honestly. It feels like Sarah J Maas has an unhealthy relationship with beauty. Especially in the 4th book, I'm currently reading it, but every time that we're talking about a character and they switch points of view, they're talking about how beautiful each other are, and I'm just like, stop it. It's actually kind of annoying, and at this point, if everyone is so goddamn beautiful, then really, beauty should be pretty much like, bleh. At this point, you know? You'd think that beauty would be of little consequence at this point, like, I'm done. And it's purely physical beauty that it's being upheld to Western white beauty standards, and it's like, well. And it's something that's just grown tiring at this point. I'm just rolling my eyes non-stop every time someone beautiful comes into play. Also, Rowan, with how he is at this point, which is the end of this book, and how he is in the beginning of the 4th book, I like him. But when seeing the full picture of how he treated Selenia in the beginning of this book and how their relationship evolved, I'm like, I wouldn't have forgiven him at all. He was an asshole. There's a line between someone being kind of asshole-ish and forgivable to a point where it's just cruel. And I felt that he was just unnecessarily cruel, and yeah, no, I wouldn't have forgiven him. No, it's not cool. But they're Karanan and all that stuff, so like. And I also got a spoiler regarding how the series develops, but it's really funny because I read the spoiler before reading the 3rd book, and I thought that the spoilery thing happened in this book, and it didn't happen. So I'm like, I'm dying to know at what point in the story it happens, and I want to talk a little bit about it. So if you have not read past this book, can you hear that? It was my cat wanting to enter the room. That was very aggressive. But yeah, if you've only read this book so far, mute this video until this emoji disappears. But I was reading on the wiki page of the Throne of Glass series, and in that wiki page, it said that Rowan was Selenia's mate. Soulmate, both, I don't remember how they call it, but it was, yeah, they're mates. They're mates! And when Rowan was introduced, I was immediately like, I can't, like, kind of shipping them together, so it was a big shock to see that he was such a dick. But also I'm really looking forward to watching them come together as one and wanting to see at what point they realize they're mates. It hasn't happened yet. I'm halfway through the 4th book, as I said, has not happened yet. I don't know if it happens in the 5th book or like even further ahead, and I want to know. I want to read that. I am so excited to find that out, and that was something that I was so excited for in this book and I didn't get. So I'm just like, I have so much pent-up emotion inside me that it needs release. But yeah, that was all I wanted to say in regards to that subject. So yes, I think that's about it for my review. I really liked it. So far it's my favorite. It's still very conflicting, and I think it's worth analyzing in depth. I will also be linking down my review on Goodreads, where you can also find other reviews on Goodreads linked directly with reviewers that echo my thoughts and analyze in depth the issues within this story. So thank you so much for watching my video. Do let me know in the comment section down below if you liked it. If you didn't like it, why didn't you like it? If you've reviewed this book, link it below. I'd love to go and check it out. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!